Hello and good afternoon. Thank you for watching UBC Television Inspiring Uganda. Welcome to the Lunchtime News. This 11th day of June 2021. Today marks that day, the first day where inter-district transportation has been banned. So we can't wait to be updating you on how the developments come up. But of course, we also do, compel you to abide by these SOPs. You never know that this is what God is communicating with us to be able to beat the pandemic. Thank you for joining us. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and I now share with you the news in detail. Now, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has defended the new lineup of ministers, likening it to the way Jesus selected his disciples. Museveni says he personally selected the ministers in the new cabinet. He was also presiding over the 2021-2022 financial year budget reading at Kololo Independence Grounds. Museveni also commented on the recent assassination attempt on General Katumba Wamala, saying that government will prioritize security of the country. These are the details.
President Museveni has revealed that he has high hopes in his recently named cabinet. Drawing from the story of Jesus Christ who went along the shores of Lake Galilee in the hunt for disciples abandoning the Pharisees who are regarded as intellectuals then, Museveni highlighted that the new cabinet is one he burnt the midnight candle for, dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Jesus did not recruit Pharisees. He did not recruit Levites. He did not recruit the other one, Sadducees. He went for Simon Peter. And he went for the other ones. Of course, he had also some intellectuals, because I'm told that Luke was a doctor. So please, when you look at my list, know that I'm in the path of Jesus Christ. Because I was underground, I was working alone, because these things are quite when you are compiling the list, you are under very big threat. So I was operating underground alone. This is one area where I don't need assistance.
On the general security situation in the country, Museveni indicated that the measures he had earlier laid before Parliament should be effected.
In my 2018 speech, I spoke about the digital monitors to be installed in every vehicle, every piki-piki. That project was delayed. I don't know why it delayed. General Tumwine was handling it. Even Katumba was involved in that project. This morning I was talking with the new Minister of State proposed Minister for Internal Affairs, David Mozi. What happened to my project? Why has it not been implemented? Because I don't want any more wasting time in investigations. Every vehicle must have a digital monitor. Every piki-piki must have a digital monitor, centrally monitored.
On the assassination attempt on General Katumba Wamala, Museveni says this was one which was politically motivated.
It's not that it's crime. No. This was a definite political motive, and we shall know which pig was behind this one. Because there are different pigs. Now, this business, people who use assassination, these are people who are not sure of themselves. They are the ones who use assassinations. NRM never uses assassinations.
In the 2020-2021 budget read by Honorable Amos Lugolobi, government has set aside 6.9 trillion Ugandan shillings to cater for the creation of a peaceful and secure environment for economic growth in the country. On the economic outlook, Museveni said the country will put emphasis on value addition and advocating for appropriate tax regimes. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
Furthermore, a professor at Makerere University, Professor Augustine Wagawa, has described the just passed presented budget as an allocation that partially speaks to the needs of Ugandans. Now, the economics lecturer expressed his concerns on the 7.7 trillion shillings allocated to human capital development and 6.9 trillion shillings to peace and security, giving the agriculture and small-scale enterprises meager resource allocations. Let's take a look. We do apologize. That story is coming in within the bulletin. However, the Member of Parliament for Ntenjeru County, Arnold, has presented the 44.7 trillion budget for the financial year 2021-2022. Now, in a new budget, there is an increase of 12% on airtime as part of the initiative to widen tax collection, among others.
Usually, Minister for Finance presents the budget, but before the vetting process is complete, the President is mandated to choose who presents the budget. The appointed Minister of State for Finance in charge of planning and Member of Parliament in Ntenjeru North, Arnold, has presented the national budget 2021-2022 at Kololo Independence Ground.
Economic growth for this financial year is projected at 3.3%, rising from 3% last financial year.
In the budget, Uganda's economy size has grown from 108.5 trillion in 2016-2017 to 148.3 trillion. Human capital development has bagged the biggest share of the national budget with 7.7 trillion, followed by security with 6.9 trillion shillings. 560 billion has been provided for the procurement of vaccines. The National Medical Stores budget has been increased from 420.3 to 600.3 billion. 124.9 billion has been provided for rural water and 523.4 billion for urban water to improve sanitation. 134.9 billion has been allocated to enhance digitization of the economy. 1.67 trillion to support agro-industrialization initiatives.
The agro-industrialization strategy will address low production and productivity of primary agriculture, poor harvest, handling and storage, limited value addition, and insufficient market access.
1.1 trillion for the development of energy infrastructure and services. 5.1 trillion for integrated transport infrastructure and related services. 358.5 billion for innovation and technological development. Judiciary funding has been enhanced from 199.1 billion to 376.9 billion.
The proportion of cases that are over 2 years old have reduced from 24% in 2017 to 17.5% in 2021.
To widen domestic local revenue collection, a 12% tax on airtime shall be introduced.
Value-added services and internet data, excluding data for provision of medical services and the provision of education services.
An export levy of 7% on the value of fish meal exports, 5% and 10% on processed and unprocessed gold and other minerals respectively.
And number 6, close all bonded warehouses for imported sugar for re-export to avoid undeclaration and misclassification. These administrative measures will generate about 800 billion shillings in revenue collections.
Uganda's debt burden stands at 63 trillion shillings, and one of the key components to sustain this is to prioritize borrowing.
Equivalent to 49.8% of GDP. Uganda will not default on repayment of its debt. All contractual debt obligations will be fully honored.
The budget has been read under the theme Industrialization for Inclusive Growth, Employment and Wealth Creation. Ivan Kahua, UBC News at Kololo.
Furthermore, the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development is worried about the surging numbers of COVID-19, which has led to forced labour amongst children. Now, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Agri David Chibenge, says that government is putting in place different policies aimed at bridging the gap between children's well-being and the possibilities of forced labour. The celebrations will be under the theme, Act Now to End Child Labour.
Of about 2,048,000 children out of the 14,984,929 aged between 5 to 17 years were engaged in some form of child labor, which represents 14% of all children nationally. The male child laborers were 1,124,000, while female laborers were 931,000, constituting 15.9% and 12.1% respectively. Sometimes in unhealthy environments, in dangerous places requiring dangerous tools, or carrying objects that are too heavy, especially for the children. These activities are detrimental to the physical, mental health of children and hinder their proper development. Most saddening, it deprives children of the right to education. The school closures and loss of incomes triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic have exacerbated the problem of child labor, as many children have been forced to enter the workforce in order to help their families survive. Is to encourage legislative and practical actions to eradicate child labor worldwide.
Furthermore, with cases of COVID-19 fully revenging among school-going children, government has cautioned parents on how they should handle children while at home during the 42 days. UPDF's Chief Political Commissioner, who is also the representative of the UPDF in the 11th Parliament, Major General Henry Masiko, wants parents to make children busy within their homes, if need be, create more activities other than the necessary movement. Let's take a look at those details.
Operating procedures. What now we need to do with the second partial lockdown is really to study and go back to these standing operating procedures. My main message, schools have now again been shut and children are at home. Please, young people, remain at home, because now this virus is everywhere. It's no longer like the first wave where we were not saying it is in some places and not other places. The places you want to go to hang out, these plazas and everywhere, any place now has a possibility of this virus. The best way, keep home for these 42 days. Listen to your parents, because now the parents have a responsibility to work with the experts to handle the infections, because the infections are now real. Many people in society now are infected, and the hospital facilities are not enough. Even when you want to go, they will first say, we take people of a certain stage. So it's real. The hospitals are not enough to handle you. So if you keep meandering and causing more infection, as we head for the third wave, which they are talking about, the experts, we shall be in trouble. So my young people, stay home. Stay home, do your things home, even playing football, play on your phones if you can. Please, please don't tempt the situation where we are going to have many of you.
Furthermore, Kampala Capital City Authority has taken measures to strengthen enforcement of the Ministry of Health guidelines in the city to curb the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. In the monitoring of daily activities, city markets and city arcades are on the top list, and no physical council meetings will be held in the city authority.
Under the guidance and directive to safeguard and protect the public against the spread of COVID-19 pandemic, KCCA has started enforcement to implement guidelines in the city. According to the resident city commissioner, Wadulo saying these guidelines have been ignored, leading to an increment in infection rates.
Now, access to public spaces and behavior. All entrances to the public spaces must have hand washing points with water and soap. This may sound obvious, but there are people who have decided to rebel. And remember that the president gave us only 1 week. So we are going to ensure that we reach out to such people who are violating these rules, and they will pay heavily.
We shall begin monitoring how the arcades are performing, the markets, the borders, the taxis. And again, depending on whether compliance is positive or not negative, different actions will take place.
Accessing city authority premises will only be on appointment with the physical meetings at the city hall.
We are encouraging and moving forward to encourage virtual meetings. Physical meetings are not encouraged. The disease is killing a number of people.
Much awareness on the disease was key among the parties, and these received instruments by city investors to be used by city dwellers, who also pledged to work closely with the authority in implementing the guidelines.
Witnessed, hospitals are getting filled, our medical staff is getting weakened with the rising numbers of the sick. So if we don't come up as the private sector and help government or work together with the government to see that we eliminate this disease will never go away.
The authority urges the public to follow the set guidelines put in place to avoid facing penalties. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
Furthermore, born-again Christians in and around Kampala, led by the pastor Samanya, have appealed to President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to intervene in church leaders' wrangles. Now, they raised this concern at a press conference aimed at portraying one of their own misconduct, which is affecting tranquility and unity of the churches in the country.
We are here to stop the acts of abuse in church, whereby Pastor Senyonga has made it a habit to abuse each and every pastor who is above him or who is on his level. But this affects the young pastors, the beginners, the churches who have just beginning. This affects the born-again Christians who have just come in a Christianity system. So we are condemning all the acts, all the abuses of Pastor Senyonga, whereby we are trying to intervene the president to come in and we negotiate and we see which problem do prophets have, which problem do Senyonga have. That's why we have come here as a group of born-again Christians to intervene, to call the parties, the two parties, those which are claiming that the acts of Senyonga are really declining the church, or they are declining the religious faith, whereby the church is part of government. It's a non-government organization which helps people who are depressed, who are oppressed, who are jobless, whereby the president, if the president doesn't intervene, it will cost a lot of death and false accusation will go on. That's why we have come here to condemn all the acts of Senyonga.
And that takes us for a short commercial break. When we return, we'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift, buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*4#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift, buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*4#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Lunchtime News Edition, particularly here on UBC TV. Now, the government has established a National E-Waste Collection Center on 6th Street Industrial Area in Kampala to deal with the growing amount of e-waste and the effects it poses to the environment and human life. Now, electronic waste or e-waste refers to all electronic and electric equipment and its parts that have been discarded. Establishment of this facility is hinged on the 2012 e-waste management policy. Let's take a look. Since 2006, the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, has been working closely with the Ministry of Information, Communications Technology and National Guidance, the National Enterprise Corporation and other stakeholders who form the National E-Waste Steering Committee to institute an e-waste management infrastructure.
NEMA as an authority established by government, one of its responsibilities is to ensure that waste does not cause contamination, does not affect the public. So by establishing this center, we have accomplished one of our obligations of managing waste. And now, NEC, National Enterprise Corporation, through Luero Industries, is going to manage this electronic waste center.
E-waste refers to all electrical and electronic waste and all its parts whose use has expired.
All of us know they have a short lifespan. Everything eventually has to die. So if we do not manage that process of how we recoup that equipment from the public, we put everybody's health at risk.
The United Nations Global E-Waste Monitor report shows that in 2018, the e-waste generated in Uganda was estimated at 17 million kilograms, with a projection of 4.5 million kilograms of e-waste per annum to be generated annually from 2018 to 2022.
For your information, NEC, as ED members said, has been dealing in waste management. Annually, we manage about 500 tons of waste in Luero Industries. So this is an added assignment of e-waste that we are going to put in place.
The public will therefore collect all e-waste in designated locations while they wait for community collection endeavors by government, because most electronics contain toxic materials including beryllium and cadmium, which have serious effects on the environment. Wadulo, Arnold, UBC News. Yes, and that goes without saying. Most of us keep our phones, various equipment in our homes, even without using them when they're died and out of their life, though the e-waste facility is now here to be able to collect those. Well, we've been advised to keep our e-waste in one location, and when the designated locations for disposal for this e-waste comes, we will be communicated to. Thank you for joining us for this afternoon's bulletin. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and have yourselves a great weekend.